And we're live. Hello, everyone. This is Ninja GC. Good morning again for another React video. This one from MLP Season 8, Episode 23. I forget what it is.
Episode
Anyway.
23?
No, I don't know. 23. I'm just trying to remember if I could. It's like I feel the title was off the top of my tongue, but yeah. Anyway, join me again is a herd of bronies.
Hello, all you ponies. I'm a herd of bronies. Welcome back to Let's Watch Season 8.
Carlos.
Hello there, this is MLP here, just telling you all, appreciate dragons in all shapes and sizes, because for now, I believe in all dragons of different shapes, different colors, even the adorable ones that don't even look reptilian. They all count. They all count. Well, except for one. Oh, God, I just remembered. Well, I'm not going to finish that sentence. I hope you all enjoy your day.
Are you talking about the Bowsetta meme or something else?
Bowsette.
Oh, yeah, that's right, the Bowsette meme. Oh, yeah, this is currently happening like nearly a week after the whole release of that. Let's just say Bowsette is really awesome. And I'm so happy that mangaka are actually working on it, like Miss Kobayashi Dragon made. Seriously, 9 pictures from her, from the mangaka.
Oh, wait, have you watched that? Like, get a ticket, you watch Anime America or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah, because she referenced the exact number. Yeah, like the funniest thing that had me dying was like the bongo cat.
Bongo cat.
The mix with that. But yeah, this meme I was literally just found it like because of people on YouTube were talking about it, and I looked it up, and I'm really shocked how far this, like, I like to say, like, even in the comments, like, this just shows you how far like a good character design can take you.
Yes, and in terms of like combining Bowser and Peach's designs together to form this beautiful like monster girl design that just appeals to everyone, and it's like, this is interesting. So this is what people look from like the furry side on TV, or the anime fan to like normal people. It's literally like a meeting of people for the first time. It's like we all universally agree this is amazing or cute or just tsundere.
You know, like I think Anime America, she had like the great summary of it. Like Bowser became a bombshell tsundere goddess.
Tsundere queen goddess.
Oh, it's like that description's like, yeah, that's shit.
Oh yeah.
So back to the reaction of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
Yes.
You kids and your Chinese cartoons.
That's what my father says, and he's actually an old man.
All right. Next up, Day Lover in second.
Yay! And this is the sound of silence. Simon and Garfunkel reference.
Yeah, second opinion and Dale over here are joining you for the reaction of Sounds of Silence. And from a critic first and a fan second, this is going to be an awesome reaction.
Yay!
It's about all I can guarantee.
I recommend Disturbed's version of Sound of Silence.
Oh yeah, that is the title.
Yay!
Alright.
And Jenn is currently exhibiting such traits right now of the episode.
Are you there, Jen?
She's taking this title.
All right.
Well, let's go over to John then.
John!
Breaking the sound of silence, Jen, come on!
All right.
Nothing is working.
Well,
I had to bring in the big guns.
Well, it's kind of actually really appropriate that we were talking about dragons for this episode.
Oh,
yeah. It's because I only brought it up because I just took Derek's opinion here about like watching Dragon Pilot. It's a really good Netflix series.
Yeah, I like to say it's the second best for me Netflix original anime.
Second.
First, I would still like the first one. I would still say I would go for is Violet Evergarden. I would still say is number one, but have you seen that one?
No.
All right. Hey, look. Yeah, that one was that series like it really stepped like that was the first one that really stepped up the quality in like the Netflix original animes. Because for a while, like Netflix just got like basically the second run of anime from like the other like Funimation and all that. And then like their original anime were like the stuff that like Funimation, like Crunchyroll, and all the other ones basically passed up on.
All your base are belong to us.
Yeah.
It's not an anime, is it?
No.
That's just
Not that kind of dialogue.
No, I know it's been referenced in anime at some point.
Yeah, definitely reference.
Jenn, come back.
Right.
But like, let's see, like Netflix definitely has some winning shows for like all ages, including like the kiddies. Like, I mean, like, the fact that they made Skylanders into an interesting animation series. Some of the old MLP voice actors worked on like an amazing sort of like preschool to elementary school show about like dinosaurs that are literally like trucks and machines, and it's like this is literally like the perfect fusion of Bob the Builder with Dinosaur Train.
Another thing that reminds me of the funny part is that like Netflix signed a deal for a while with NBC Universal, like that's where a lot of those like kid shows came from. And I find it funny, like like the dinosaur one you're talking about. Like I know a lot, like I think the Skylanders one too. Like just a lot of the kids based shows and like the youth things. And then ironically, one of like the final ones in that original contract was Voltron. so it's like, yeah, that Voltron really stands like separate from those lists for various reasons.
Yes.
It's too bad copyright takes.
Here I am. I'm here.
You're back. Yeah.
Silence has been broken.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Oh, jeez.
So this is Jenn.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
We just got through
We watched the whole episode in silence without you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding?
No.
You're kidding, right?
Yeah.
Return the android.
All right.
Oh my god. Oh boy.
Yep, we just have your intro, and then we're ready for the episode.
Okay. Oh, by the way, hi, I'm Jenn. It's been a long day. I'm a little sleepy, so. Oh boy.
Yeah, everyone has a long day.
Oh boy. But ready to watch the new episode.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I guess so. Let me pull up my own episode. Let's see. All right. Does everyone have their episode up?
Yes.
I'm
Ready.
Ready.
I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. Everyone ready?
Ready.
Yeah.
Press play in 3, 2, 1, play.
But no!
Let's free cartoons. Let's free quality in high cartoons.
Welcome to Nickelodeon with ponies. Hey. Yes. Oh.
We're excited about the fact that we're running out of ideas. Really?
Oh, no, that's good.
Best pairing for like the best map episode.
Yeah, just about.
Like my least favorite pony and my favorite pony together. What can go wrong?
Like how clouds deals in clouds and the crystal empire is made of crystal?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a point.
There's a little here. Oh, Rocco.
Except for the legend on this ancient shield.
Oh.
That looks cool.
I legit want that shield.
Kieran.
Oh my god. We're going into dense fighting herds mythos.
Unfortunately, other creatures also live there. The Neuric, fearsome beasts of pure
Ooh.
Oh,
Fire!
now we're going into llamas. Well, or just fiery hybrids.
Flakes don't lie.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, that line won't be
Yeah.
abused at all.
That should be a meme.
Yeah.
Wow, Applejack being the cocky one, aren't you?
Wow, it looks like we're,
Characterization.
looks like we're back into season 1 Fluttershy, but okay.
Yeah.
And Applejack is
Well,
in
I don't know. I mean, I don't know about the philosophy that every time a character acts like extreme their trait, it's season 1 version of them.
I
least
don't
because-
think like that's true though.
Yeah, at least because season 1 really wasn't that flat about these things, but I don't know. This time it's like they just kind of want to say that this is something Fluttershy's afraid of. It looks like.
Oh, it's the end of the line.
Ooh.
Oh,
I think we saw that before. That it just goes
Yeah, we
back.
did.
Yeah.
yeah.
Sounds of Silence.
Is
Yeah,
the
that's
writer
what I said.
Gregory?
Yeah. Ooh.
The old conductor.
You really startled us.
Just said I'm not used to seeing any pony taking the train to the end of the line.
Oh,
So, I definitely got that reference from Rooster Teeth show recently.
Nothing but uncharted terrain.
His Igor
I'm starting to
impression.
like this guy.
Guy's like somebody preceding a Scooby-Doo episode.
We didn't know we're doing.
oh,
So
really?
Aww. Oh God.
Dang.
Bugs and Equestria are always antagonists, except for spiders.
Applejack,
Where's
where's
Fluttershy?
Fluttershy? Yeah.
You left her behind.
Oh, I have to go all the way back.
Oh
Ah.
no.
Oh, poor
No.
Applejack.
Oh,
That's harsh.
Ooh,
Very.
wow.
Playing with squirrels.
That should be enough flowers to keep your tree cozy.
Fluttershy? What are you doing? This is no time for visiting varmints. We're
Oh.
Oh,
Stop bringing back the bad flashbacks.
burning daylight.
Out is this?
Now we gotta get up that peak. I figured if we use some rope and elbow grease, we can make it up half.
ooh.
Wow.
What I'm trying to say is, the squirrels told me a shortcut they take to the Kieran village.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, she went through all that for nothing.
Yeah. Well, at least they didn't do the thing where Applejack talks over her forever and they just like forces her along the path. That gag has been done to death.
Come back to get me?
Applejack still reminds me about myself a lot.
But like,
Ooh.
Ooh.
Ooh, so nice.
Butterfly.
Aw.
I hope that's not in here.
Oh, come on.
Oh my God, this is like the
Right.
Smurfs animated movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reveal the all-guy pony tribe.
Come on.
Oh.
Oh.
Whoa.
She's nice.
Hello there, Celestia figure for Kieran's.
Wow.
Yeah.
the animation.
Hi, I'm Applejack.
Nice design.
And this here's Fluttershy.
Hello. No?
If you
We
have
look
any
unimpressed.
problems, we're here to help.
Come on. Yeah. Well then.
Quiet, ain't they? We're from Equestria, and we're plumb tickled to meet y'all.
Aw.
Oh my God, they know the moat.
They have this like you're lower than dirt stare.
Applejack.
Oh God.
Oh no.
The translation slowly.
Maybe they don't understand us.
Do you
Oh, the cringe.
Yes.
Oh, but you don't speak?
Oh, that's why it's called Sound of Silence.
Will you excuse us for a moment?
It should not be the most culturally sensitive right now.
Questions or they won't answer.
Like talking to Angel Bunny.
Exactly. I can always tell.
Only you're not talking to like the very embodiment of evil.
Yeah.
Well, how are we gonna solve a friendship problem if none of them will tell us what it is?
And then, first cut.
I know how to get your attention in this episode.
Cute.
These Karen are quieter than an apple blossom on Snowfall. Still, there's gotta be somewhere.
Apple Blossom on Snowfall brings back up memories of Brotherhood Social.
Come on, they're not going to speak to you.
Oh! Literal unicorns with dragon feet.
Glowing glowing horns.
Yeah.
Say something.
So they're
But,
unicorns.
Not working.
well,
No.
at least that joke's aware that it's cheesy.
Yeah.
Not working.
Yeah. Oh.
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 Now we're getting somewhere.
A dark, spooky path that leads into unknown territory?
Tell you what.
Yeah, you stay there.
Stay and see if you can get anything out of these here Kieran. I'll go try and find one that talks.
Be careful. And watch out for Nerix!
Nerix?
Yeah, that was the flame
Oh,
one.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
The mystery.
Peer pressure.
Those are, like, yeah, they're not going to talk because they're afraid of Indians.
Ah. Ah.
Oh, have you seen a Kieran that talks?
Dang.
Any idea where I should look?
Mm.
Oh, for the love of Celestia! Can't you just say something?
Gotcha!
Woo.
Jokes. Hilarity.
Okay.
Hey, I'm a fast talking character, that's the joke.
Which you should do, of course. But first, what joy to talk with another creature.
Oh.
Everything about you. There's so much to say, so much to do. Oh, look at me. I'm going on, and you haven't seen.
Bringing out the reverse. Now the pony can't
I really
speak.
like her, yeah.
This character has a very distinguishable voice.
Yes, it was.
So, I mean, is this someone in particular?
Song.
Yeah, it said it was a guest voice.
It was a guest. It was a singer.
Oh.
Okay, now that looked kind of season 1-ish.
That's still beautiful, though.
Well, I mean, yeah, that was almost refreshing, like, yeah,
Maybe the water and the mountains and the forests and the rainbow.
almost pleasingly simplistic.
Mm.
Thinking the same thing. We are a part of the everything.
The everything.
We are all it.
We're all connected in the great circle of life.
Pretty, but yeah.
And this is just the first stop on a journey of amazing things to see, smell, tiptoe through. Oh, I haven't been able to share all of this with any pony in forever since they all took that vow of silence. So it's a lot for me to get.
Oh, vow of silence. Okay, that's why they don't talk.
Yes.
Whoa there. Vow of silence?
That's why they asked me to leave.
I hope it's not a sore subject, but you mind explaining why y'all went quiet in the first place?
It's a long story.
Yeah.
Oh my
Hey.
god.
Here we go, yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Mm.
Aw. Ooh. Oh,
Huh.
that's
Whoa.
amazing.
Oh, flame war.
I like that design. Oh no.
So, this is the most casually delivered plot twist I think I've seen.
Oh, that's so good though.
Oh.
Oh. Symbolism.
Oh my god! Okay, immediately recognizable now.
Aww.
Oh my god!
Crazy face quota.
Ooh, that's a harsh selection.
Okay, it's a catchy song.
Oh.
Now she reminds me a little of me.
Oh.
Oh, the Phantom of the Opera.
Oh.
It's Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, that's a harsh choice.
Relatable.
Oh my god.
Oh. Mm. Mm. Mm.
Right.
Aw.
I bet this character already knows the moral, and they're not trying to like play it as some be-all end-all wisdom. Like,
I was trying to figure out why I like this song so much, and I think it is. It reminds me a lot of season 1 songs.
well, honestly, there's just so much personality in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, but it reminds me a lot of like
so
a winter
much
wrap-up
better,
song.
though.
It's like,
That's what I said.
I mean, like,
I'll talk about more after the episode.
yeah.
Mm.
Oh my god.
What?
Complete opposite of there.
Go talk to the other Kieran. We can get him to welcome you back proper like. Maybe even convince him to take your cure.
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, nice.
Just one small thing. The antidote for my anecdote, it's gone.
What?
There's no
What?
cure left.
I used the last
Aw.
of the bull's breath flowers to make it, and I haven't seen them bloom since.
Wow.
Aw.
It wouldn't be a friendship quest if it was easy.
Aw.
I'm gonna start by getting your friends to welcome you back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, between you and me, I'm not sure she's gonna convince them.
Nah.
But I hope she does.
The character might be a little nuts.
She's going crazy.
Oh, she would have got nuts.
I figured out the friendship problem. Me too. Go ahead.
No.
That's a problem the Kieran never have.
No.
Anyhow, we gotta get him on talking again.
Oh, no. We can't ever let that happen.
Oh, this is literally a slice of what?
Lost in translation.
No, like spice up your life. That's what I mean.
Usually peaceful and kind, but when they get mad, they turn into lyrics, creatures made of fire and vengeance.
Ooh.
That seems
Sounds like fun.
when it was in a song.
No.
They got so angry, they accidentally destroyed their whole village. So the Kieran decided to make sure it would never happen again.
No
Oh.
reason to stop talking.
Yes,
Mhm.
it is. Fire is dangerous, especially in a forest like this. Think of all the animals it could hurt.
Not if they don't turn into fire-breathing Nerik in the first place.
And how can you be sure that won't happen?
Gotta be a better way than giving up all your feelings.
Oh.
Mhm.
You're not listening.
Cause you're not talking any sense.
What are they doing?
Oh.
Sorry, because we were arguing with each other.
Join the herd. Join the herd.
Having a normal civil disagreement. Honest.
Where
Aw.
Oh, it suddenly seems small now.
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh no!
Oh.
If we hit that water, we'll never be able to talk or feel anything.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Where did it
that's
say
harsh.
Sorry.
What?
Oh
Yeah.
no. Got him.
Oh,
Well,
nice.
I think I know this one.
Go.
Be useful.
Can't have them silence the only friend who'll speak to me.
She talks?
You have no Meet Autumn Blaze.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that wall of fire. I thought mimics were dangerous when they're angry. How did you know you could control your temper?
I didn't. I guess anger's like other feelings. It's not about having them, it's what you do with them.
And giving up happiness to keep away anger is no kind of life.
I never thought
Yeah.
of it that way. I can't imagine not being able to talk to my animal friends.
Fruit Flare, you used to love to laugh at everything. And Brainshine, you sung the most beautiful harmonies. Don't you miss it?
That's a leader.
I'm
Yeah.
not worried about fighting, but friends can disagree without causing a ruckus.
Every pony gets mad sometimes. Even Applejack and I argue.
What? When did we ever argue?
You just did.
And about the Kieran being silent.
Waka waka waka.
That's cute.
Never let that
I mean,
all free.
even their last friendship map exploration,
And take some time
they had disagreements on that.
hurt any pony.
But not to anger levels.
I think they're trying to say something.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Cure.
Oh no, someone trapped in a well?
Yeah.
Baby
My
fish
God,
now?
real comedy.
Anything? Just
Wavy wave.
curious. Would you excuse me? I'll be Oh! You want the cure for the stream of silence!
That's wonderful. Isn't it?
Well, it would be, except there aren't any flowers left to make the cure.
Are you sure?
Oh, beyond sure. Believe me, I've had a lot of alone time lately. I searched the
Nah.
entire forest 73 and a half times. Although I wonder if that second half could make a difference.
Aww. Why?
I wish she'd told us what kind of flowers she's looking for.
They're called foal's breath.
I've never heard of that.
Maybe your animal friends? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, squirrel knows, maybe.
Little help.
He says he knows where to find fool's breath.
Well, what are we waiting for? Lead the way.
Yay. Go, go, go. Oh, the flowers from the
Oh
start.
yeah! Oh my god! I couldn't
Oh.
believe that.
Hiya!
Fool's breath looks like?
Autumn Blaze never would have made it past the peaks to search here. I owe you an apology.
Why?
Cause if your kindness hadn't made you stop to help the squirrels, we never would have found this here flower.
And if
Aw.
your honesty hadn't convinced the Kieran to talk, we wouldn't need to find it.
The map knows all.
Oh, so cute.
Yay!
I felt like the best helper.
Flutter apple for the win.
You found them? Where were they?
It's a good combo.
Feel free to add complicated descriptions and comedic tangents.
The characters really so much in the later seasons now.
Yay.
Oh. Now enjoy emotions again.
Okay.
Autumn Blaze, you have given us a gift. The realization that anger is within us, but it is our choice how we let it out. We would very much like it if you came back to live with us. I can't say how much we've missed your beautiful voice.
Aw. Yay, skipping stone.
Well, they kind of just did, so
Yeah.
that line doesn't work anymore.
Yay. And rainbows.
Well, this is a beautiful rainbow than the movie.
Yay!
Wow.
Throw hooves!
Right.
Wow.
Okay, so season 8 is still continuing being on that good track of great episodes now.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Like, I mean, like, this episode is kind of like,
can I just ask, like, one thing I want to ask? Are y'all in agreement this is probably the best song of the season so far? Or?
Oh, absolutely.
By far, yeah.
Absolutely.
Is there any other songs this season?
I mean,
The Trixie and Starlight song.
Right. Well, that was all right.
It was all right, but this
it was show tuney, but like not really all that memorable. School.
I just like how you refer to it. It was show tuney. Like, oh, it was show tuney.
Yeah.
It was kind of cute and all, but I mean, yeah, this song, it had, well, I said personality before, but I mean, yeah, DC, you brought up Winter Wrap Up, and I don't know if it, like, that I'd use the same term to describe that song, but I guess one thing you can credit both of them is that they do go for just, like, a really specific, really relatable mood in a lot of ways, or at least it feels like it, because it seems like it's written with one in mind. Like, you know, Winter Wrap Up, it does, I mean, you do somehow sort of get a sense of like a blooming sort of a spring, where it's not a sunny song, but it has that mood of like preparing to be, and like, yeah. Which fits kind of Twilight's thing in that moment, because she's in her own ways hoping to get to a sunny place. But okay, but yeah, this one meanwhile.
I think a good way to describe it maybe is like what were made like this song work, and also like some of the season 1 and 2 songs, like when it's wrap up work, is because they like the song itself is not just a song. Like it tells a complete story onto itself outside the episode onto itself, if that makes sense. Like how it's like this song is its own narrative outside of the episodes in, if that makes like.
Yeah, little nuances are surprisingly hard to summarize and critique, aren't they?
But I don't see any similarities to season 1. This is way leaks over anything that I've seen so far.
This is the song is?
Yeah, and the episode itself as well.
I mean, this song.
This is your favorite episode ever, you're saying?
No, but I'm saying like everything looks a lot better. And plays a lot better, and it's a better story
than what?
Than
I don't know
anything I've seen in season 1.
Well, like think about the songs we're talking about there. The Rarities putting it together, Best Night Ever.
That's still better.
But think about the kind of tone, like versus Starlight and Trixie's travel song, or what the main Six's song in All Bottled Up about how they're great sunny friends or whatever it was. Like,
I still think like this is better.
So you're missing my point here, though. Like you, if you're comparing like what they're about and the kind of effect they have, like, I mean, besides the one in this episode, for example, like what are some of the songs that come to your mind off the top of your head?
Well, Magical Mystery Cure songs from
yeah, Magical Mystery Cure, like that. As many issues as I have with that episode, that goes for a tone of like very, very high grandiosity and all that. Like it is its own thing. And what are some of the other songs you remember?
This is like all of the other ones, but I still
the Smile song, for example.
Yeah, but I still think like they come way longer with everything else besides the song.
Yeah, well, I mean, what we're trying
story and
yeah, well, okay, but one thing we're trying to say here, and I'll get to fighting with you about that in a moment, but like the Smile song, for example, right? It's very distinctly Pinky, just how much she loved it. The putting it together, it's and granted, Rarity hadn't been in the spotlight that long, but it's a song that makes you really believe that she likes being that generous and gets into the craft of it, gets into all the ways she's going to stitch this thing together. That
are you talking about the art? You're talking about the art of the dress.
Art of the dress, which is a repackaged putting it together from Sunday in the Park with George. Totally different song, totally different musical. But they still used it very well in that scenario. And now this song it's very distinctly Autumn Breeze, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like all of her passion for these things, all of the how much she wishes her village would talk to her, and her, in spite of the fact that she's kind of an eccentric and silly character, has her own like really sunny morals about the rainbows won't light up the sky. Right? It feels very Autumn Breeze. Yes.
Yes.
So okay, and I think that's where we're going with the season 1 songs here. Like that's why you remember them, and that's why you have them in common.
Just move on before
Oh boy. Okay, so
take up all of the time. Next.
Oh, we're going to burst into flaming lyrics or whatever they were for a second. But,
I think that's what she's trying to do.
I'm good. I'm thankful. Like my OC is actually fireproof. That's the only over the top thing my OC has.
OC backstories.
So your OC's fireproof, huh?
Yes.
Fireproof?
Oh. Fireproof.
Just like fire burning up the way. I can light the world up in just one day. Watch this magic.
That's the only overpowered thing I have.
All that and you're an alicorn.
Well, I can only fly when I'm with you.
Yeah. No, I love your OC backstory.
Next, before I
moving
take
on.
up time.
So I just wanted to say her name is actually Autumn Blaze, not Breeze.
Autumn Blaze. Yeah.
Ooh, that's even more fun because it doesn't forget the thing about the get angry. I love the scene actually where she's like about playing charades and getting mad. It's like they give her the evil eyes and even like pointy teeth and that face saying, "Could you hold on 1 second? I'll be right back."
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I love
so
that part
much I
so
could do
much.
that. That's like that part where she's like, "I'll be right back." You were saying that's me. That's me at work.
Oh, so basically, Autoretsuko in a nutshell.
That's pretty much
that.
it.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. I'm not really joking when I say like I feel a lot of workplaces would get noticeably better if they had like a soundproof room which you could vent in for like a minute.
Oh my gosh, yes, or better yet, a destruction room where you can have like say an old
where you can destroy whatever you want,
and a baseball bat and a base or something like that, and then just wail on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, Jen? We're going to make that room, and we're going to make people pay for going in there.
Actually,
be rich.
Yes.
Well, Psych 101 says that like pure venting is more like a drug that becomes more addicting and less effective the more you do it, but an actual activity to like let out some energy, some steam in, like smash as much stuff as you can with the baseball bat in 60 seconds. That I could see.
Oh my
We
goodness!
have to remember to put up computers for you.
And make sure there's protective gear and such. You don't want you don't want a stray microchip getting into your eye or getting
no. Jen, what we're going to do, we're going to like print out this that they have to sign, being like, if you hurt yourself, we're not responsible.
There you
liability
go.
agreement.
There you go.
You're not liability.
There you go. Perfect.
Hey guys.
Yes.
I also when we were mentioning about songs, we forgot about 2 songs in particular. And at first I thought like this song from French University was the most forgettable, but then it's like Surfing or Turf actually had a song.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh yeah.
Oh my
god. Pick the C, pick the land,
like,
who the
there's
hell
like
cares?
that song and the one Sweetie Belle and
Forever Filler.
No, the one that and the Sweetie Belle and
Scootaloo.
No, Sweetie Belle and
Terramar.
Rarity's they're Rarity and Sweetie Belle song.
There wasn't a song there.
What?
Was it?
There wasn't a
I
song.
thought there was.
I mean, first of all, it sounded like somebody said Forever Philly, and that's not a season 8 episode. That's not even a season 7 episode. So.
No.
Oh god. No.
And for some odd reason, I'm thinking of This Day Area right now.
Oh my god.
That's from way back.
Literally
What's happening?
season 2 finale. I'm just
All right, I have a list up.
Yeah, but Yeah.
I think there was one premiere.
Yeah, they're like the boring like School of Friendship song that shows.
Yes,
like,
that one.
Yes.
And there's one in Surf, and then
oh gosh, like yeah, I was mixing up like Forever Philly with this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
School Days, though, there was a song in that.
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
I mean,
we all forgot about that.
I didn't forget about it. It's like I only forgot about Surf and Turf and Friendship.
That's what I mean. I don't know. School Days. I feel like if you sang a bar of that one, I'd remember it okay. Like, when was it?
We don't remember any.
It was like in the middle of the episode when going through the first days of class, we all be wanting to pass.
Will we fail or will we pass?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that part's memorable and inane.
That's the only part that's
yeah, but Saffron and Turf, like, honestly, that deserves to title for, like, most forgettable song of season 8.
Yes.
And perhaps the series at this point, because every other song is either annoying, bad, good, great, fantastic, or very much complimentary to the message of, like, what the song tries to bring for the episode.
Yeah,
it covered like just about every reaction you could have to a song there. I hope every song is one of those.
Yes.
And this song is like really descriptive and really good, I think, for the viewers.
Yeah, well, I mean, like rainbows won't light up this. I mean, in the metaphors you've heard before, like that's you almost got to be careful with those because, that can come across as like really sing-song inane, especially if you're using it as a synonym for insert moral here.
Well, but, you just need to let it rain.
But I mean, well, heck, I mentioned the tone they were playing that moment with. Like, they weren't playing it as some be-all, end-all wisdom. They weren't playing it as something that the characters had to work their way around to extensively. Like, this episode kind of treats its audience like, okay, yeah, you're smart. You don't need us to work you all the way around to the truth that you already know is true. It's just a matter of what it is that's going to convince these characters that it's okay. And then we get the story of the part of the story about anger and how it's an emotion like any other and such. But yeah, the song itself, it sort of goes for that same tone. Like, that's not supposed to be Autumn Blaze's moment of deep, deep wisdom. It's just, her optimism for, like, it's her ode to letting the emotions flow, and just one of many things she says about, why that's so worthwhile.
She actually says what's going to happen for the rest of the episode.
And plus, like, the animation with that, like, how she does, like, pulls Applejack's smile from it.
Smile.
Because you can't give up your effort just because of a little
pain,
Like, having your face forced into a frown, that's a little pain.
Yeah, that's...
I would say your face forced into a smile is pretty painful, too.
Yeah, I don't know much either.
I don't know how I got these scars. A pony jumped onto me.
My father was a drinker and a fiend.
My father was a pony. And his philosophy was, you can't give up your laughter because of a little pain. And one night, he comes home crazier than usual. Dear old mommy tells him to calm down and stop smiling. He doesn't like that. Not one bit. He picks up the cupcake.
Oh no! No, Ron!
Yes! Yes, keep going!
Serious! He runs on me, laughing while he does it.
Think of this.
Oh, now I know what you're referencing. I never see movies.
No,
come on, Alex.
It's like just something that's like so entrenched in meme culture that it recognizes immediately.
Yeah.
Second,
Okay, but no spoiling
second,
Dark
that
Knight.
was amazing. That was amazing. You need to you need to record a sound bite of that full thing and post it. That is epic.
Post it everywhere.
I'm really happy. Like this episode is the one in which it's like it's second opinions, not.
Absolutely, you're on fire, sir.
Yeah.
Autumn Blake. So Autumn
Oh,
Blake
gosh,
goes to Applejack and just says, "Let's put a smile on that face."
You know, it's sort of fortunate.
You're Karen, right?
I know. I think it's sort of either fortunate or unfortunate that like this episode aired so late into like the second to last season, because if this would have aired like in season 3 or 4, we'd have been like overwhelmed by a tsunami of Kieran OCs.
Yes, and there's still time. There is actually still time. Like I didn't even know about the Kieran until just now. And actually, I was talking to somebody from before this episode. I was actually talking to someone at one point, and he said Kieran. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? And then all of a sudden, here's something with Kieran. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was a prelude.
Yeah,
I really like the design of the Kieran too.
Well, people, actually, something really funny. I drew Second's OC with fire wings, blue fire wings at one point.
Oh yeah, see, I'm a Kieran.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, but we cut off Alex. What were you saying?
Yeah, well, people have made Kieran OCs before. It was sort of a fan-made thing. People knew about Kieran's.
But I mean, like more in this design.
Yeah,
because Monster Hunter sort of made it popular around, like at least familiar around here. But yeah, I mean, like this, like because like if we had an episode like this air like a season 2 or 3, there would have been like open like Dragon OC's version 2 or something like this. Like,
I'm like thinking about like people will be like, this is what happens when a unicorn and a dragon mate, and this is why Verity will have this for their baby.
Oh yeah,
perfect. Oh my gosh.
Then again,
there's no reason now that the ship can't sail.
Verity, go.
Then again, think about like when the Breezies appeared. How many Breezies OCs did we get after that?
None. They're not interesting though.
Changelings, on the other hand.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, the Breezies were like more of a sidekick-y sort of character. Like they
sounded
sparks to the.
I'll never forget how they sounded like. They sounded like the freaking Swedish chef sucked a lot of helium.
Plus, that's a really slight episode. Like, I mean, there's nothing too bad about it execution-wise. It's perfectly solid, but that is like the slightest of premises. Like,
I mean,
Fluttershy gets a new pet for an episode and a couple of Honey I Shrunk the Kids gags.
I mean, also the fact that Vegeta's voice actor was in it.
Who's?
Oh, yeah, Vegeta.
Oh yeah,
playing the angry Breezy. That was
exactly, and again, sounding like the Swedish chef on freaking helium. I'm wondering if they doctored his voice or did they actually get Brian Drummond to suck some helium?
Maybe.
Do his high-pitched Scottish accent.
Oh, you must be so proud.
Or better yet, oh my gosh. So I wonder if anyone's done this. They tell him to suck some helium and say it's over 9,000.
Yeah.
I guarantee you I'd be broken. I'd truly be broken.
A little bit of sound editing could have made the same effect, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's like 20% more powerful. So over 9,000.
Oh my god! Hey guys,
that was crazy.
I just imagined it like that one Roger Rabbit villain where the voice just gets louder and louder.
Oh, I remember. When I killed your brother, I taught
and the train has gone off the tracks again.
All right, now
we're going. We don't need no tracks.
Carlos, you're saying something?
I just realized something when I was looking at the Wikia. Mirrorx is literally just killing backwards. My God!
What?
Come again?
Mirrorx is just literally curing backwards.
Lyrics. I thought they were called lyrics.
No,
Literally,
that's how it's
Clever.
Yeah, that was like one of. I mean,
I thought that was
Neil
an
Dog
X
is
in it.
goblet spelled backwards. But actually,
thought
yeah,
it
that
was
was
like
one of
that.
the
I
most
thought there was
casually dropped twists I've seen possibly ever. Like they're building up the whole episode, these mysterious other beings of pure fire, and then during the song, it's like, yeah, and one day we got mad. Like that goes by without almost any emphasis, which is not good, not bad, just different.
But yeah, I never realized that like it was just it spelled backward. But I think it's because at least the way everyone was saying it, they always made it sound like an X instead of a K.
Yeah.
So it's just near Rick, but like it was like they just sound like an X when they have X in the name.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was actually a good catch.
Yeah. So like, my goodness. This episode's just like, let's first showcase like the yin yang symbolism of the Kieran and the Nerex, like in a shield, and I'm just like, clever girl episode.
Agreed. Okay, I had the same thing. I was thinking, clever girls.
So, anyways, I found out who the guest voice actor was. It's
Who
Rachel
is it?
Bloom.
Rachel Bloom?
Wait, say that again. Who?
Rachel Bloom.
Rachel Bloom.
Comedian.
Rachel Bloom. Rachel
Some
Bloom.
kind of, it's like a sitcom star comedian person, right?
Like a crazy ex-girlfriend.
Don't know who she is.
From CW. Okay, let's see her IMDb to see if she's played in any movies at all.
I really liked her. I really liked her speaking voice and her singing voice. I really liked the pitch and like the texture of when she was talking and singing. It's like I almost loved it when she was talking on and on and on. I didn't want her to shut up because it sounded so pretty.
Okay,
kind of
that's true. And I mean, she had like things to say. It wasn't just a name like somebody who likes the idea of a fast talking character, but just assumes that all you have to do is have them say random things to make that work. I mean, that she has the gift of gab. I will give her that.
Oh yes.
So apparently she worked on a Robot Chicken as like the comedy voice for like April O'Neil, Ariel, and other voice roles. And was in BoJack Horseman for 3 seasons.
Oh no!
So this is So this is not trying to make someone who's like what's the word, has the great resume funny. This is a case of digging heart out of comedy.
Yeah.
Okay, and also a parody of Game of Thrones known as Gay of Thrones.
No.
Wait, did you say Gay of Thrones?
Yeah.
You're gonna love the name of her character in her only film role to date.
Okay.
Kara.
Yay.
Kara.
Kara. Not you.
Oh, that's
wait a
that's
minute.
So strange.
Wait, that's not the. Wait a minute. Shoot! What is that studio engine? I can't remember what it is. It was this animation called Kara.
Oh, Kara.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
It's the animation about an actual android and when it comes to being threatened to being taken apart, it actually shows fear for its life. That's not it, is it?
Is it an old animation?
I guess.
No.
Kira from Death Note, but
and I'm thinking about like this in real life robot that was made, but she's not called Kira though.
No, I'm thinking Kara. Never mind.
Kara, yeah.
You said
Kara, because it was close to Kira, right?
Kara for some reason.
No, Kara, be careful.
That's a stretch.
Kara, don't kill things.
Give me a break.
Like Kara, remember your meditation. Okay. Poof.
Actually, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they let her. I mean, yeah, I said gift of gab, and not only does it sound like that she was improvising a lot of that, but she's actually an improvisational comedian.
Now I know where, like, you said you recognize her from an animated short. Yeah, like I was looking down her IMDb. She was like from, if you've seen like it was like this one short. It's called if Disney cartoons were historically accurate. She's like the princess in that.
Okay.
Oh.
I'll show you the thing. Like it goes like here's what it is like. It's like in medieval times. It's hilarious and dark and also racist.
Oh my god! Yeah, like Rachel Bloom has been a lot of polarizing like comedy shorts.
No, it's intentionally it's like poking fun of like it's like if Disney cartoons really were historically accurate.
Yeah.
Okay, and now for the part about adding hidden weight to the episode. She has a history of depression, anxiety, and OCD.
Yeah.
Oh.
Long history. And is a mental health advocate.
And let's just say you can't go behind a rock and get that out in 2 seconds.
No, but she said, you can't give up your laughter just because of a little pain. No suppressing emotions all the way out. And actually, like, even though they didn't go, like, they never directly said that that's what the water also does, but I think they were trying to weave that in without having to say it with Applejack and Flutter. If we go into that water, what was that? We'll go quiet forever and never have emotions again. Like, which that was a little bit crowbarred, but okay.
Yeah, it's not just like not being able to talk. It's like also losing our feeling of happiness, sadness, all for the greater good. Like imagine like becoming the new trolls from Futurama. That's right.
That was even sort of brought up early on about like with Fluttershy. She's like, yeah, I can't get any sort of feeling at all about their emotions. Like, which is like it's like one of those like subtext, like those things that they don't like blatantly say, but like they show early on that they're not just silent, but like they're like emotionally like silent too.
Yeah, I mean, like, because having literally no emotions, that like nobody's that HAL 9000. I mean,
they're Klingon.
Even the fact that they want to, get their emotions back at some point would,
Don't you mean they're Vulcan?
Or their
Vulcan.
They're Vulcans, pretty much.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I also really enjoyed like Applejack and Fluttershy in this episode, actually.
More so Applejack.
They actually.
Sorry.
Well, Applejack got most of the spotlight besides the Autumn Blaze.
I mean, it's the reverse of like Viva Las Pegasus, which is like, woohoo, mostly Applejack episode that's actually good and kind of injects her with life so late in the series, but it's like...
Actually, I like Applejack better in Viva Las Pegasus too.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, Viva Las Pegasus too, like, she was very contradictory, and it's like in a good way because of like past experience with Flim Flam. It's like...
it turned out Flim and Flam, Fluttershy was wrong. They weren't the real problem there. Applejack, her hard-nosed realism, it was technically correct, but I mean, Fluttershy, she did have to still push to incorporate them. Like it was Applejack. She wasn't wrong. But she needed Fluttershy to help steer.
But I really love the way with the stubbornness here actually being the solution or one of the solutions.
Yeah. Well, like Applejack's is diligently walking into a wall again and again, like, all right, let's trek all the way up the mountain, Fluttershy.
Yeah, and going all the way back again. And I can see myself doing that as well.
Yeah. And then like Fluttershy's the one with the head on her shoulders, but Applejack has sort of that protagonisty. She's thinking towards the correct moral, even if she is like becoming sort of a not necessarily a slapstick hero, but like a comedic hero who stumbles in the wrong direction a lot, but is the one who's saying the right thing at the end of the day. And actually, I almost forgot they kind of used to do that, like back in Book Before You Sleep. Applejack is, I mean, even though it's supposed to be equal parts Rarity and Applejack, they do allow Applejack to sort of slide more into the protagonist role. Like there are moments, at least, where she's the more reasonable, less, but less forcing herself on the other one, and she is the one who has to reach out to Rarity at the end to solve the problem. But I don't know. Instead of writing it as an Applejack episode, they're okay with giving both of them equal screen time. It's just that's sort of the way it works out, and that's okay. And that's actually really refreshing. That they don't need to throw the lines plotting point A to point B right in your face. It's just the personalities play out how they would.
Yeah.
The interactions play out how they would.
That actually reminds me, like because I was just reading some comments like earlier on this episode. Bringing up a point where I was like, "Yep, part of what this made this episode strong is they have a conflict between friends, but it's handled in a logical, controlled manner, like previous episodes this season."
Oh
yes,
yes,
100 times, yes.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's what you mentioned about earlier when we were talking about episodes about around friends having conflicts with each other. First starting with non-compete clause and then continuing on with like the friendship, the road to friendship. And then, seriously, we suffered through so many episodes.
I was actually
they ranged from bad to okay, I think, on that front. But no, this for the most part was good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, but now the count is like officially up to like 4 episodes now with this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or is it 5? Seriously, don't know anymore.
Well, let's see. End and friend non-compete clause. Jesus, the only thing I can think of to use Rainbow Dash for anymore. Even washouts was kind of, sort of, that, even though it was between Rainbow and Scootaloo.
Road to friendship.
Yeah, that. I mean, this would make 5 if we can't think of any more on top of that.
Oh my god.
Boy, I don't know, does mod couple count? Maybe not, because it's Cutie Pie and Mud Briar.
Great episode. Yeah. But I was actually thinking about something really dark before we go on a tangent with 6 and the mod. Like Applejack left Fluttershy there in the village with the silent ponies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just left her with strangers that they don't know that are silent, being like, I'm thinking her face, like when she's being left there. Oh, no.
Fluttershy, what'd they do to you? Fluttershy tilts head slightly.
No.
But actually, no, Twilight did say that the Kirin were a peaceful race.
Yeah, but
it's like,
how do you define peace?
Yeah, no, they did allow there to be a little bit of a creep factor to the Kirin, which I liked.
No doubt, there's gonna be like a meme thing is like, what the Kirin are thinking, like, so first time in the Kirin village, huh?
Yeah, no, actually, if they wanted to play this as the dark episode, they could have, like, Applejack runs out of the village, meets Autumn Blaze, like, oh, no, you have to go back and get your friend out of there right now.
Yeah, or she would lose her tongue.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, that escalated quickly.
I said I was thinking dark. I'm sorry.
And your name is Day Lover. Yes, you're thinking dark.
But then, like, we even put more of like the darkness in when, like, if Fluttershy turns out to be near, and it's like she tries to talk to her friends, her animal friend, and it's just like they don't understand her at all, even from her training. It's just like she starts crying. It's like.
No.
But no, she can't even cry. She's just like eternally like just screaming, but she can't even emote anything, and it's just like, oh my god, that's just like
that would be a little too much. I think
that would hurt.
So much more refreshing when you don't feel like everything is padded and the way of some pony to watch over me. Like, no, like bad possibilities don't even exist. We live in a padded world.
Oh my god, I'm going to be the only one that likes it.
No, I'm not saying about the episode's quality. I'm saying how like the entire Applejack's trying to make the entire world padded, so like nothing is ever even like a little bit.
But that's her family. That's
that
something
even
else.
Feels a little bit risky. No. It's not it has nothing to do with quality. I'm talking about Applejack trying to do that, just like sometimes these episodes themselves have that feel like everything is padded and has to work at like this time. This is one of those episodes where dark things, even though we know they won't, they feel, I mean, the characters don't know that, and it feels like they're not supposed to, because the world, it feels like, has a little bit of an edge in moments like this.
So. Definitely like the flame design, evil look of the ponies.
That too. Yeah, actually, Dark Possibilities, they say that it already happened once, burning the entire village to the ground.
Yeah. So the possibilities are endless.
Boy.
In the world. I mean, next.
That's not no. Some Pony to Watch Over Me is not a bad episode because of that. It's bad because it has ham-fisted hit you over the head comedy.
No, it's good.
Actually, I do kind of enjoy that episode because it's so insane. But moving on.
Anyways, back to the episode. Did anyone else?
That wasn't the episode, but go ahead.
Did anyone else get the feeling, sort of in the beginning, that I don't know, that the style of writing was kind of different than what we've seen before, or sort of unique? The characterization of both Applejack and Fluttershy is kind of different.
Oh yeah, absolutely
different. I mean, I want to look back at other episodes to see, like, yeah, compare and contrast all that. But I mean, it was, we'll say it was definitely less up to, I mean, it was a little looser, and it definitely seemed to have a really nice command over just how to write emotions, how to write conflicts in a way that, like, lets them to unfold instead of, like, trying to force them to unfold towards, just to make, like, yeah, this is the moral I want, so point A strictly leads to point B, strictly leads to point C. Like, this seemed like someone who knew what they were doing a little on a level above that, or, well, I don't know. How do you scale writing talent? Just someone who has the experience, someone who has a sense of these kinds of scenarios. I don't know. I like this guy better, and you guys were saying this is a newbie.
Yeah, complete newbie. Like, this is his first episode.
Yeah. So actually,
wow. Not bad.
Well, actually, it says here that it's his first MLP episode, but he's an award-winning international playwright, novelist, lyricist,
screenwriter, director, actor.
He's also acted in stuff. He's written a critically acclaimed cult comedy series.
I've never seen that series before.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding.
We're taking it from Wikipedia, so.
That's
so you know it's all true. Wow. Okay, so they found the kind of guy you wish that they could have been working with long before this.
Yeah, like season 6. Like, come on, you could have brought him out in season 6, right?
I want more of this guy in season 9.
More. Yes, please. Yes, please.
And the last episode was made by Michael Vogel, who is known to crank out a great one on at least a fair portion of the time.
I mean, Mean 6 is also part of Michael Vogel's repertoire.
Yes.
Actually, wait, what's part of his repertoire?
Mean 6, you know.
Mean 6, School Days. Actually, you know what? I think he has all my favorite episodes this season.
Yeah, Michael Vogel is kind of like that one writer that's like, at first, a part of like the editing, like, or story editing stuff, somewhat around season 6, but then it was like, okay, we're gonna need some actual help with the writers. Like, we need someone to fill it out. I was like, I volunteer you, Michael. You go write some episodes or help us with like the premiere and such.
I mean, he's good.
He's also helped with like To Wear Him Back Again with Josh Haber.
Yeah, and I think he wrote Stranger Than Fan Fiction.
Oh dear.
Yes, he helped with Josh Haber. Oh my god.
Yep. Didn't he write some of these Starlight episodes too?
And he also helped with
he wrote A Heartwarming Tale. Like, yeah, he doesn't always, like, he's not a guaranteed great one. Like, I don't know who would be a guaranteed great one. Maybe Amy Keating Roger.
He did Spice Up Your Life. He did Spice Up Your Life, actually.
Yeah, that was like not a guarantee, but he still, I think he has maybe easily the best batting average of anyone in the show. Like, everyone wants to talk about Nick Confalone as the standout, and he does stand out, but no, I think this guy should get the credit as the top dog.
Yeah, Michael Vogel, even if he's teamed up with Josh Haber, it's like he mostly does have like a better batting average than a lot of
well, Josh Haber's usually not, at least not that much of a step backwards. He's usually, I feel like he knows how to be solid, at least. When he's inspired, he can even crank out a great one. But when you ask him to edit an entire season, he seems to just want to keep the train on the tracks, if even.
Like we do.
Although speaking of this guy and Haber, Haber's new season editing partner, Nicole Dubach, is that how you say that? Dubach?
Yeah, Dubach.
Yeah, she has Emmy-nominated works in the Transformers franchise. You know what? This guy almost seems like what I was hoping she would be. Somebody new with talent and an outside perspective on how to inject some life, work with these characters to do fun stuff. Fun stuff.
Oh, yeah, and also Young Justice. Don't forget about Young Justice.
That's hers?
Yeah, that's also part of her repertoire, actually.
Yeah, meanwhile, this season, I mean, she helped with School Days, but I'm tempted to give Michael Vogel and not her more of the credit for that.
She also had the solo credit for Marks for Effort.
You mean the Cozy Glow episode?
Yes.
Yeah, and A Matter of Principles, which was even worse.
And we can make all of this up later.
This is the place to talk about it, not and an upcoming episode. Well, this is how you comment on things. You talk about the relevant, related things.
Yes.
And the praisable.
But if I want fun, I want pain as well, right? No, that's not how the song went.
It was not a sadomasochism song.
No.
I don't think.
Maybe. That's where the burning comes in. No, next.
Moving on.
Again.
So I just want to say this episode definitely hits a home run of introducing these creatures, showing their negative sides along with their positive sides, and just being I mean, I don't know if you want to set up maybe a Kieran's background character from season 9 in the school. I mean, that'd totally be cool. I mean,
and finally, green ponies that are not evil. Yes.
Oh my god!
Yay.
We broke the cycle.
We're saved.
Yay!
It's also certainly the type of episode that's really invigorates you in a different way. Being very good, but it's not in the same good as you might say for What Lies Beneath or Rockhoof in a Hard Place.
Yeah.
But it's it's definitely immediately screams great episode, possibly top tier if there's the finale doesn't wow us or the next episode. Because we literally only have 2 more sessions of this aside from the special, so
yay, special.
Yeah,
special.
But the characterization I'd say was the show stealer in this episode. But the more I think about it, the plotting might be sort of the understated sort of champion here, because we were saying before how it kind of built this mystery, how it uncorked the story of the Kieran bit by bit, it has Twilight. Yeah. Drop what we need to know starting out. Peaceful race called Kieran, flaming evil ponies called Nerik, and then, Fluttershy and Applejack built, kind of having the mystery built up for them on the way there, not least by the conductor pony.
Yeah, he was funny.
Well, yeah.
I really liked him.
I don't even. Somehow,
He reminds me of that conductor from The Matrix. The one that sets Neo off and be
Revelations. But I mean, that's normally the kind of character I would find really cheesy. But I was laughing at that. I didn't feel like I could see everything he was going to say and do coming a second before he said it. And I don't know. I almost would want to think back and pick that apart. That would take some time on just why that worked as well as it did. But yeah, he backs into the conductor's booth laughing his evil laugh, and they don't draw the window with any particular emphasis. So when he pops out of that to shut it while laughing, it's a surprise. I mean, I like that.
It knows how to use its obscene nature. It embraces the obscene nature of that gag.
The absurd nature.
Yeah.
Absurd, yeah.
Obscene is.
Yeah,
absurd.
The funny one and the fun.
Yeah. And then the Kieran, they don't it played them just right. They're attention getters with what's up here? What are they? unhappy to have these new characters in the village. What is going through their heads? And then they direct Applejack towards the mysterious path in the woods, and then they let Autumn Blaze hit you full force from out of nowhere. And then it's
well,
not. I mean, it's not enough.
That's after she pumps AJ first.
Yeah.
I mean, well, yeah, it's not like the last one where just like the twists and turns of the plot and how the characters are going to navigate their way through it. That's not what stands out, but I mean, it's done very well it's done well in how it channels what is the point of the dynamic that these characters have with each other, the Kieran and Applejack and Fluttershy, and just how that plays out across the episode. I mean, like this. Hey, let fun characters like Autumn Blaze be fun characters. I mean, it seems like a lot of episodes are just eager to throw characters like that at the screen and let them go berserk. But I mean, I guess the moral here is like how you set it up, how you play it, how you write it in. It does matter.
Yeah. Also love they're finding out that it was the same flower from the start that they have to use again. Yeah. I like stuff like that. Yeah. There's a saying for that, but I forgot what it is. You play something and it's later used.
Set up.
Well, kind of, but not.
One point. Look up on it. Look up.
I don't know. But yeah, moving on.
I guess I will say one thing about this episode. The pacing in the first 3/4 of the episode, it felt like it was setting up for it to be a much longer episode, and then in the last quarter, it kind of went a little bit faster and kind of wrapped itself up. Around the time when Applejack and Fluttershy were going to be thrown into the pool, it felt like there were going to be 12 more minutes of the episode, but it turned out to be only 5 more minutes. So yeah.
It's just from where you meet Autumn Blaze, you do kind of off and on get the sense okay, that's the whole story here, just reconciling these Kieran who can't agree with each other, and that's not a particularly big conflict on its own, but it does kind of feel like it just because of the details they fill it in with, the Neric and the how Autumn Blaze had a whole life based on being the talkative one, or one of them anyway, and how they didn't appreciate her trying to pull them back to the old ways.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine being trapped in a world where I was the only one that would talk. I would drive everybody insane.
Yeah, it did imply that Autumn Blaze might be starting to either lose it a little bit or having to resort to very quirky things to not lose it.
Yeah.
Like talking to a volleyball named Wilson.
Yeah.
Or even her own hoof.
Yeah.
Or Shadow.
Yeah.
Or the shadow. Oh my god. It's so many things that she uses as stimulus.
There I begin to wonder how long has she been there? For years or something before the map called Fluttershy and Applejack. That's a little cruel. Just letting her rot there.
If the map, I don't know, somehow knew that this was the time that
this was the time where the flowers were blooming again.
I don't know. I guess I could buy the argument
50 years later.
Well, that could be it. I could also maybe buy the argument that Applejack and Fluttershy weren't ready to solve the problem until now.
That's true, yeah.
I mean, not that the seasons have done anything in particular to get them to this
I
point.
didn't even think about that.
That's not this episode's fault.
Yeah.
They solved the Viva Las Pegasus problem 2 seasons ago. Maybe that was their warm up.
Yeah.
I was also thinking about weirdly enough, this episode is a 3 for 3 of the past 2 episodes, and Pony's going through such excruciating punishments compared to say season 7, which only had 1 episode dealing with something dangerous or mortifying on a psychological level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, like this also reminds me of the episode with Fluttershy's brother, where he's left alone out in the wilderness with the ball and stuff like that. A little bit.
As offhand details go.
It's like ponies in the woods. It never ends well for them, ever. It never ends well for them.
So ponies are not woodland creatures, besides Sakura.
No, Sakura's not a pony.
Oh, yes, it's zebra.
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 I mean, like, there's technically a cattail. I mean, there's technically Cattail, who's like been the only pony who's been able to like live off, though it's in like a house, but it's like it's a house in like an abandoned village in the swamps.
Mm-hmm.
So that no longer is the case anymore for Cattail.
So, did we see him in that episode or not?
Oh wait, are you talking about the Rock Over the Heart place?
Yeah, I can't remember if we've seen him or not.
Yeah, we have seen it. It was 2 weeks ago.
I know. I said him if we've seen him in it.
Oh yeah, he was there. He was there in the corner.
All right.
Who?
Cattail. You know, the pony who was introduced in Health of Information.
Oh, right. Yeah, he was in that.
Yeah,
like that.
It's like
I know, fine. His debut episode was kind of dense.
I mean, I know I have a steadfast rule that Cattail's in all episodes I consider great.
Oh, well, I guess my problem there is that he was in the episodes he was in, so.
The episodes he was in, so basically Health of Information, Shadow Play, and now Rockcliffe in the Hard Place.
I'll give you Shadow Play.
But I like the small detail of the ponies. Their fur is actually the thing that becomes fire when they turn on. Fire ponies.
Literally flame on.
Yeah. I mean, and how about like that design too? Not always needing to it's fire, so it's red, orange, yellow. No, it's black flame. That's.
Oh no, it's blue flame with like red outline with a black coat.
Yeah, that was why I was thinking about what I did for your wings, the blue flame.
But it's just honestly like this episode has a lot of good things to say, but not really like so much because it's just clearly great in its quality. Angles.
Yeah,
it's just clearly what?
It's just clearly great on its many angles that we could talk about.
Yeah.
It feels like very simplistic to just mention about it. That's what I think about this.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all woven together pretty seamlessly. Like, I mean, you could unpack a lot of the stuffing down your emotions, and it's true. It doesn't like try to push that over the top. It doesn't try to push, I guess, any one theme over the top, but it just weaves them together really well. And I mean, they all play together really. I mean, I would say, they play together up to a great episode.
Yeah, and it's like the moral is like so. Yeah, I'll also say like the moral is like very poignant, especially for us in the internet age. We even get ourselves too heated in our arguments, even against our closest friends. You know who you are. Take a page here. Don't make like the mods just immediately do the mute on your entire chat just because of the chaotic chat rooms we get. It's like
now about the Kieran being silent thing. I'm sure any theorist can delve into this and kind of analyze how exactly the events would turn out, but I'm surprised that the Kieran were able to rebuild their entire village after they took the silencing treatment, because it's just surprising that they were able to function as a society when they can't talk.
Well, they still have magic, so.
Well, I mean, I get like if someone were to try to tell me that they could live in a way that wasn't simple village in the woods, that I would call foul.
No, I'm just thinking now because of like the loss of emotion combined with like them being silent, and if someone's like really good at like directing orders while being silent, just being like, okay, Rainshine is like directing like the pony, the currents literally like do certain parts, and they wouldn't literally complain about it if they were lazy and stuff because no emotion means like no negative reaction.
Yeah.
To orders.
And also you can like I think like they found a way to communicate with the head turning and like pointing with their hooves and doing stuff.
Or you could just write it down.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Magic.
Pen and paper.
I mean, like these movies, like 1,000 words, think the no talking is an excuse for every gag in the book. Oh, he has to grab the robot that talks when you press a button and use that to try to fill in the blanks. And like, we have writing for a reason.
But I actually really like the, horn design or what it was for the magic as well. It seemed like really old, or how to say that in pop song.
Yeah, no, the horns, like how only parts of them light up depending on the magic they were using.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was cool.
I don't know, that's the little extra mile stuff that I like.
Yeah, almost looking like runes in stone or stuff like that.
Like when you think about this realistically, it would seem very impractical.
Well, yeah, but it's not realistic. It's multi-colorfulness and a fancy so.
Well, I like that. Well, those arguments have been exchanged since the dawn of fantasy, and I mean, I think like it depends for me. If you're using it to violate your own rules, or if you're using it, hey, I don't have to explain this Deus Ex Machina that I just threw in that is not a fun payoff for anything whatsoever in the story because it's magic. Like, okay, that, no, but like, yeah, but I don't know how the wizards in Harry Potter can do this, and this spell, even though if I were to go over here and apply it to this scenario, I would need another explanation because it could potentially not work. Like, no, I don't need an explanation for that.
No, we don't need an explanation. It's magic. Whee!
That's not
everyone's a mind reader.
Well, then again, it would defeat the purpose of like, oh, if we read our minds, it's like, well, then again, they're not emotion. Oh, that would actually work.
Like, how would they express what they want, their wants or their needs or anything? Like,
I guess there's a
play
reason.
Charades where.
I guess there's a reason Autumn Blaze considers this a step down because, I mean, yeah, there's not much way around this. Would involve a lot more keeping to yourself and a lot less exotic activities, a lot less complex activities.
So basically how I act on a daily basis.
But maybe they're looking each other in the eyes and see the reflection of the soul, and then they know what the other person wants or the other person wants.
I liked your it's magic explanation better.
Ooh, okay.
It's magic, you know.
But I mean, no, like the head tilts and stuff, like Applejack and Fluttershy, they don't even try to communicate with them like, oh, it's important to get to the bottom line of this right now. Like, okay, they're going to talk at us. We're not going to be able to tell them much. We're used to that. That's how it is.
Well, and before they lost their voices and stuff like that, they had their houses and stuff like that, so they know how to build them, so they don't need voices for that. They already know how to.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just picturing a really simplistic village lifestyle for how they live without voices. Yeah. A lot of keeping to yourself, a lot of boring peace.
Like, I'm just saying, if I lost my voice, for example, I would still be able to make food, right? Because I know how to do that. I don't need my voice for doing that.
Oh my God! The issue
already more detail than we need to think about this in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also need to think about offspring for the Kirin because then they would have to be baptized by the stream of silence under their rule for them to be like.
That's really good symbolism. Yeah.
That's a good place to steer it towards something else.
Oh my God! I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
Who else wants to talk about this episode? Something they liked, didn't like in it. We have Jenn.
You don't like
DC.
baptism?
Yeah, baptism I'm fine with. Evil baptism is a whole nother layer of things to unpack.
Yeah. You don't have time for that.
Okay, so
Any
Jen's
other
probably
final
asleep again.
And any other final thoughts?
Basically, overall, I considered like this to be like the episode in which I consider Applejack to be her most likable, with flaws and all.
Oh yeah.
For Fluttershy, it's like flip flopping between like her shy tendencies, but also it's like her recent outspokenness to make sort of like this character has not abandoned all of her shyness. But at the same time, it's like she isn't afraid to speak up her mind when it comes to issues like this.
Yeah, she's a lot more dynamic in this episode.
Oh yeah, and this also feels like a bit of a progression from Bats, in which both of them were at a bad end.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we had Viva lost Pegasus for them as a team. I mean, I think Bats was kind of just like a one-time we don't agree. As Applejack would say when the Kieran were about to dip her in the stream of silence, a civil disagreement.
It was a simple disagreement. It's not like we were hating each other for our positions like we were like in season 4, right? Yeah, right, Fluttershy?
But no, yeah, Bats is a cheesy episode.
Yeah, it is a cheesy episode that's like the only reason why it remains in our consciousness is like the last episode by like Charlton Fulton. It's just because of Flutterbat.
And also okay song,
yeah, it's an okay song, but that's really it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when you mentioned civil disagreement, I got flashbacks from Starlight's Village, and how they handled
oh my God.
discourse and stuff.
Yeah.
We send them to the shame barn in which we'll hypnotize them with like our rhetoric. Or in the case of the Kieran, this stream will remove all of your emotions and make you complacent.
Yeah.
Similar.
Although at least the Kieran have the argument that it's a lesson that their village literally never learned. I think a bunch of ponies who were living normal lives before Starlight came along would know about brainwashing people against their will.
Yeah, Starlight, you can't get yourself off the hook for that, girl.
Well, heck, I don't know how the village can get themselves off the hook. I mean, like, everybody seems to give them the, victims of deception excuse. It's like...
But you can, like, be fooled. So, like, it doesn't take
No, really. I have convinced you of my philosophy to the unending degree. It is okay for you to take this knife and stab that person through the heart.
Well, yeah, if you have charisma enough,
well, I mean, like, allowing yourself to be that brainwashed, I'm sorry, you get the penalty stick.
Oh,
penalty.
I like penalty.
Suffer the same route as like those in Attack on Titan.
Oh no. Is Infield taking the vow of silence?
It would appear so. We'll let her give her final thoughts next week, I'm sure, or something.
Yeah, you're taking the vow of silence. No.
Again, we lose more ponies to this vow of
Jenn,
silence.
You can't give up your laughter just because of a little pain. Don't be afraid to, I don't know the words.
You gotta scream it out. That voice deep within yourself. Let your primal motion reign.
Alright. I
But
guess
anyway, season. Okay, seriously though, my final thoughts on the episode. Yeah, season 8. You can't do this now. No, you can't. Yeah, after you have let me down to the point where I know better than to hope for anything, and you have only the slightest chance of even getting out of last place on my card, and you have completely fallen back into the Josh Haber season 6 rut on steroids. You cannot start cranking out episodes that are not only great, but have me legit enjoying thinking about where the show could go with all of these concepts and all of these possibilities, and because I know you're not going to stick with that. You already haven't. These are 2 episodes you threw in.
We can only hope. Yeah.
No, I think that's been taken off the table, Dayla.
No, don't take things off my table, please.
Well, you never know. But okay, well, I don't know. I definitely don't agree with Jay Lover that this thing like leaves anything from season 1 in the dust. But it does. It does have a similar effect on me as a lot of those episodes. Just like a really like kind of a feels like on some level a writer's personal story, and as something like I don't feel like I've gotten in other places quite the same. It's a unique experience and a fun one and a fulfilling one, and I'd actually like to compare it to one of my favorite season 1 episodes. Like, this is what happens when a random great episode pops up in a season that I don't know if I can apply that description to. It's hard to, you have to really think back to remember like about what it falls in line with.
I mean, like season 3, technically, like people say it was like a bad season, even when it has a couple of great episodes, and it's just like season 6, like I know you're mediocre and such, but season 8 is like I'm just going through suffering road. Some of these episodes are great.
I mean, season 3 is some of my highest highs and lowest lows, but still more lows and fewer highs than my favorite season. So yeah, season 6 was mediocrity all the way across, adding up to probably less than anything, including season 3. But season 8 is kind of like the low lows of season 3 or 5 or whatever, without their great episodes until just recently, and it's a little late, as I said.
Yeah, it's starting to become a little late.
Yeah.
That's true.
Everyone is getting tired.
Yeah.
All right. I'm done.
That's why Jenn is not here. She went to bed.
All right. I guess with that said, see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
So long.